If you trust God more than you trust your own trash, then you are fit for the path of surrender. But for as long as you shall cling to your trash, your ideas, your resistance, your protection, your safety, shall you continue to perceive a separation between I and God. But when your trust in Source, in God, in life as a whole, begins to outshine your otherwise clingy attachment to your own ideas, that is when surrender begins. Hello, everybody. Okay, let's jump straight to the guided meditation. And then afterwards, I will share an announcement. For now, forget about the world. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax any thought that you notice back to Source. Acknowledge the presence of life here and now. This cognizant, aware, sentient mystery. That which you can notice as I exist or I am. There's no explanation for it. It does not come from your brain. It does not come from the elements. Somehow, there is this magical quality of being, of something existing, of something being aware of itself being. And there's no way that two rocks bumping into each other for millions of years can suddenly create awareness itself. So the world that we see with our supposed senses, physical world, if you will, is not the host. It's not hosting your sentience, that mysterious phenomenon of the fact that you are, which is amazing when you really consider it and stop taking it for granted for just a minute. How did I am come about? Was it because of those rocks that were humping each other for a few million years? Did the friction between them really produce sentience, I amness, consciousness, complex emotion, spiritual insight, profound abstract thinking, communication? Of course not. The world did not produce you. Nothing in the world, not your parents, not your senses, not other people, not the five elements. None of it produced I am. So what you are is somehow independent, free of this world. There's the kingdom of the senses, world of Caesar, the world of Newton. And then there is the kingdom of God, domain of the true self, the actual reality, which constitutes the perception, the bundle of colors and shapes and sensations and form that we label the world. You do not exist inside of that world, and you are not made by anything that appears within it. That apparent world exists within this mysterious power that knows, that which actually, right now in your own direct experience, you go back to the heart, the very core of your experience right now. You look at yourself directly right now. You will see that beingness, that formless yet palpable beingness. Within that beingness, which has no form, therefore knows no limitation, has no parameters, aside from existing. The perception of the world arises, appears, plays around, changes form. We shift through all of these trillions of frames per second, these timelines, creating this illusion of motion and space and time and separation. But it is always just a play, and nothing within the movie creates the screen. Nothing that the light projects itself through, whatever the image may be. None of the images it projects through created the light. So we have here a dual system. We have the world or the illusion, that play of perception, which includes your body, make no mistake. Your body is not the awareness. So the world does not exist inside of your body. Your body is a part of the world. And the entire world, including the perception you've labeled artificially, this is where my body ends and this is where the world begins, therefore this is my body over here and that's the world over there. Both of these are actually the same canvas, the same painting of perception itself. They're also the screen, equally, of the movie. Separation is an idea, it's not an actuality. It is not a findable reality. You do not end where your skin ends. You are. Within that you are-ness, on that background of consciousness, of being. The world appears, including this little avatar character of your body. Just because you're able to move it around at will still doesn't make it ultimately absolutely real. Doesn't turn it into anything other than a perception. So we have again a dual system. We have the illusion, including the body. Let's call this the world, or the world of Newton. And then we have the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, or the abode of reality, your actual self-beingness. And then, in addition to these two realms, if you will, which aren't separate, but they are different, there is this beautiful power of attention. You can use your attention right now and point it outward, out there, towards the perception, under the assumption that what you see is actually out there. And then you can describe, mentally describe, attribute labels and stories and past memories and associative feelings and ideas to what arises within your perception, and thus get lost in La La Land, in the world of Newton, being taken over by the sense of solidity, separation, linearity, victimhood, and all those interesting qualities that come with forgetting your actual abode, the actual reality. Or you can take your power back, not like an activist or anything like that. Simply taking your attention back instead. That is taking your power back from the illusion to which you attribute yourself, to which you give your power, to which you have been outsourcing source. To pay attention exclusively to the world of Newton, the world of appearances, the world of Caesar, the world of form, the world of illusion, at the expense of remembering, I am. I am. I am. Is to be lost in a world of your own imagination, thinking it is the real world. But you can use that same attention and flip it around back onto self, back onto being, back onto this formless, magical, but undeniably present quality of something here is sentient, is alive. Something here exists. Again, I'm not talking about the body being alive. The body being alive is just motions appearing. The one who's witnessing the body's motions appearing and its organs functioning, that which knows that is what's actually alive. Your body's not alive. You're not alive as your body. Your body is simply moving, shifting, changing, functioning. That doesn't mean it's alive. It doesn't mean it's sentient. You exist. That is what it means to be alive. So take your attention back even prior to assuming yourself to be the body. Go back even further into the background of I am. Because I am exists whether the body does or not, whether the body sleeps or is awake, whether the body feels good or feels bad, whether the body even came into being in the first place or never came into being. In this case, it did for you in this way. But before that, what were you? Before your grandparents were even conceived, where were you? What were you? How were you? That which you were prior to the conception of your grandparents, you are now. That same alive sentient principle. It just takes on all these different forms. It plays. And that's fine. But when you forget that it is a play, and when you attribute to it this reverent quality of reality, and you misallocate what is real or truly alive or truly existent to the play, which is simply a playful product of that existence, of that aliveness, of that reality, then once again, we are outsourcing source to a video game. to a virtual reality, to a holographic projection of what's possible, forgetting the actual substratum of I am. So to take our power back is the same suggestion as surrender your little self, your idea of I am this body, this limited body in this defined world, reality. Take your attention back, you take your power back, or you could say, if you prefer, as is the theme of this month in Massaro University, I surrender. What do you surrender? Anything you can come up with. You throw it in the fire of source. You give it back to this background of I am. You toss it into that trash bin, that beautiful, mysterious trash can of I am. It takes it all. You can surrender all of it, all of you, all your ideas, all your mental contraptions, your conceptualizations. And you can give it back to the background of being. You can give it back to source. You can give it back to life. You can surrender what you think of as yourself until you realize your actual self. But if you cling to the trash of the mind and you refuse to throw it in the trash bin of I amness, give it back to the container of God, then you will carry around your trash. You will feel like you are this or you are that. You are mortal, you are time-bound, you are space-bound, you are small, your circumstances define you, and so on and so forth. All the shades of distortion will be yours to carry because they are hiding in your trash. But if you take your trash, which includes your most beloved preferences, your most ceremonial, dedicated sessions of worshiping this or that deity, this or that crystal, this or that tarot deck, you're unwilling to give that trash back to God. If you wish to continue to idolize and isolate the things you love the most, try to avoid the things that could threaten that, then you are not yet in a state of surrender. You are still living your own life like an activist. But the only activism there is against God. All activism is a form of taking action, whether mental, emotional, or physical, again, all that is, the oneness, the great perfection present throughout all that is. For once you accept the oneness beneath the illusion, which connects all that there is, and you make it your own once again by surrendering your beloved bag of trash, this beloved concept of yourself. Once you throw it out the window, once you give it back to source, once you trust God with it, once you surrender, guess who's there to greet you? If you trust God more than you trust your own trash, then you are fit for the path of surrender. You are fit for the reward inherent in that choice. But for as long as you shall cling to your trash, your ideas, your resistance, your protection, your safety, your comfort. In short, your ideas, because that's all that you have and all that you cling to. Just a bunch of ideas. For exactly that long shall you continue to perceive a separation between I and God. But when your trust in Source, in God, in life as a whole, begins to outshine or exceed, overwhelm, or expire your otherwise clingy attachment to your own ideas, that is when surrender begins to become a reality for you. Before that, it's just a thought. It's just something you entertain. It's just a nice philosophy. It's just a lifestyle idea. But real surrender means real sacrifice of the things you love the most, which are your ideas. For everything you think you love out there is tied to an idea that somehow you cultivated or you inherited from society, that you have started to believe in and find evidence for. So are you willing to surrender what you think you know and trust the path shall be revealed through your surrender? If so, if you walk this narrow path through this small gate of surrender, genuine surrender, not the lifestyle surrender, not the yoga magazine surrender, not the mindfulness group session surrender, actual surrender of all the garbage you have collected in the form of what you think is right and what you think you need to protect and what you think you deserve and want and what you think you love and what you think you should avoid. You're closest to your ego concepts of you. Once you grow in willingness, in maturity, in readiness, throw that out. Then this narrow path shall be revealed, and you shall walk it with relative ease. It will squeeze out of you everything that is false, everything that is untrue. Like a sacred fire, it will burn you up and set you free. Then in this way, and this way alone, meaning in the sincere way, the genuine self-sacrificial way, sacrificing your ideas about yourself, only in this way shall you find a resurrection of self, a great transmutation, body, mind, spirit, to beingness awareness. And I encourage you to tune in, to inquire, what is on the other side of this gate for me? Not to please your present self-concept or to give it a nice image per se, but more so to inspire your trust in the path of surrender. If you had to guess, intuitively guess, instinctively guess, what version of you, of the expression of you in this world of play would emerge from the ashes of the fire of this transmutation process of your resurrection as a result of following this narrow path through this small, precise gate into genuine surrender, sincere self-sacrifice, sincere trust in something that's not made by you as a mind, as a person, as a body. Once you go through that transmutation and you are reborn, you are, in that sense, resurrected. If you had to intuitively guess or imagine, can you get a sense, a glimpse of that version of you and its accompanying state of consciousness? And spoiler alert, blissful communion with Source Intelligence, aka God. Don't allow the mind to hijack this as simply an idea or a philosophy. You have to understand and remember frequently and demand that this is a reality that awaits you through your own choice or will. It is not reserved for some special beings. It is not some abstract yogic concept. It is not found in religious texts. It is an actual reality that awaits everyone. Remember, it's an actual reality. It's more real than whatever your mind can come up with about it. So don't listen to the thoughts and the images. Remember that there is a reality to this, a potential that awaits you, that is already here in truth. Can you glimpse that? Who would I be post-resurrection, post-ego death, post-resurrection in the true life? What would my true life be like, my awakened life, the one that has burnt through the veils of the game seeming real, and thus freed me to recognize and be one with what is actually real, and to come naturally from that settled state of blissful communion with Source Intelligence. You had to glimpse, if you had to guess, what your life would be like, what your state of mind, your state of consciousness would feel like. What sense do you get when you tune into that potential? And would that be worth it to you? Would that be worth the sacrifice of being so attached to chocolate over abandonment? Who says chocolate is better than being abandoned? When was the last time you learned more from eating chocolate than you learned from being radically abandoned? So tell me, O brilliant mind with ideas and righteousness, why is your chocolate date with yourself preferable over being abandoned by someone you've given your commitment to? Tell me, what is so much better about chocolate? What is so much richer about it? Or whatever else you prefer. or idolize or think you love? What's so much better about rock climbing or martial arts or ballet or watching Netflix than being torn to shreds by the person you love, emotionally, mentally? This is just one example. But why do you protect what you think is worthy? And why do you avoid what you think is unworthy? Because you believe in false ideas, and therefore your vision is not clean. And you do not see as God sees. You do not see what is bright. You do not see what is righteous. You do not see what is correct. You do not see what serves you most. Thus, you are in anti-Christ thinking mode when you resist. Safe to assume that every single one of your thoughts, every single one of your ideas, except perhaps the notion of source, the notion that all is the one, are all delusions going against the grain of God's natural rhythm, fabric, and ways. So do not be too attached to your ignorance, for it is just that. Know instead, I do not know. I release my righteousness, my false righteousness, so that God's true wisdom, Source's true righteousness, can shine through me, can illuminate me through my humility, through my surrender, through my trust in the power that puts every planet in its perfect orbit, that has given me this sense of I am, and that allows for me to play with the chocolate and play with the abandonment and everything in between in the first place. To honor God truly means to have faith in God more than you have faith in your human pea brain. Got to remember to put this in perspective. Till you feel I do not know. What I think I know is garbage. Let me toss it in the collection bin of the great I am. Let me trust in the great I am. Let me cleanse my vision of preferences, of ideologies, of concepts, of belief systems, and simply trust in the now as it is. And let my intuition show me and guide me and amp up my recognition of source intelligence, of this wide open awakeness that's here right now, this lucidity of being. That is God. Trust in that. Surrender to that. And it will reinform you. It will reinstruct your mind, body, spirit complex. This reinformation process could also be described as resurrection, transmutation, becoming a man or woman of God. Take a deep breath. Know this is possible for you as an actual reality that you cannot think about. It has nothing to do with your thoughts. Remember, it is an actual reality of being that awaits you. Take another deep breath and declare that you don't know anything about anything and that you're perfectly okay with that. That you will trust in Source, its greater intelligence. Take another deep breath and declare to yourself, if you will, for it's up to you, I surrender to you. I surrender to Source. I surrender to the whole. and then rest in the stillness, which is lucid and alert, as well as completely at ease and relaxed and wide open. There's no strain, but there is a dense clarity, a recognition, palpable presence that has no form, yet knows all form. Surrender all stress to that great ease, that great perfection of reality. Right. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the illusion of form and sound and voices. Now, nothing about this illusion has to distract you, or it is just appearing. When you're on a road trip and it starts raining, you turn your windshield wipers on at high speed. Does it distract you? Or do you forget about it and you remain focused on the road, the other end of the windshield wipers? Life's like that. Circumstances are like that. Your body is like that. It's just a nuisance that you can distract yourself with, or see through, be undistracted by, and have fun with instead. As for my own resurrection, of sorts, the tour of events is official, and we will announce this right now, and we will release the website to you at the end of the session and send you all the information that you need. Probably about a year ago, I started to feel the inspiration again, for the first time in years, to, how to put this, offer what I am, what I have access to, if you will, if you prefer. Ultimately the same thing. What I have access to and what I am is in truth the same thing. But people don't like the concept, usually, of such bold claims. However, what I have access to is what I am, and the same goes for you. Because this is about accessing the real self, the freedom, the potential, the possibility, our understanding of God. That's what this tour is all about. It is titled the God Tour for that reason. It is about returning God to the people, sincerely, in an effort to undo and unconfuse millennia of wicked teaching, wicked agendas against the innocent birthright of every living, self-conscious entity. So we shall return God to the people by means of this tour, by means of the vibration that it sends out, even if people do not attend. It begins a humble but powerful revolution, which is already in the making in the collective consciousness anyway. We're just supporting its further ignition, its acceleration. And so can you, if you wish to participate in this intention and align yourself with it. And we wish to make true spirituality, the true direct knowledge of God, commonplace knowledge, infuse it into the educations, give it to the people, free of charge as much as possible. Make it available, make it accessible. And create teachings and make teachings available and accessible, also free of charge, as much as is possible or appropriate. To the point where there is no more need for more teachings to be created, where there is no more need for a teacher to emerge, because the backbone, the structure, the metaphysical mathematics, the language, the true universal language of the Creator has already been holistically and relatively speaking completely distilled, made open, translated to a sufficient enough extent where the entire basis of what any living being needs to know in order to attain enlightenment, to know God, and to purify themselves along the way and to have some fun along the way as well, as was originally intended. Then there is no need for further dogma, further belief systems, or even further teachers in the classical sense. Because once the teachings are accurate and complete and holistic and balanced and accessible, then the teachings, if precise, if true to God, then are the words of God. In that sense, they are the teacher. Doesn't mean they cannot still be teachers as a profession or as an action, an activity. But this idea that there's teachers that we have to wait for, where we get a little snippet over here, and we get a little snippet over there, and we go teacher shop, and this one is genuine, and this one is not. This one is highly enlightened, and this one is just barely awake, and so on and so forth. That's dependency on teachers is no longer necessary. Let alone religion will no longer be necessary. Now, by all means, if you like to pray, not because someone indoctrinated you to do so, but because you find it useful, by all means pray. If you like the image of Shiva, by all means, look at Shiva. If you want to say, hey, Jesus Christ, I love you, thank you for saving me, by all means, say what you love to say. But God is not hidden. God does not belong to any creed. God does not have one son. God does not have one messenger. He has one message, many messengers. In fact, he has as many messengers as there are students. Distorted as those messengers might be, they are still his messengers. God is not religious. Jesus was not a Christian. Buddha was not a Buddhist. God is yours, as much as he or that or she is mine, or Jesus's. And so, we wish to make it accessible once again. I wish to make it accessible once again. That is the inspiration that I've been having. And so, I'll go visit places. We have 4 different events in the works, 3 of which are confirmed. Event types, I should say. We have more events than 4, but 4 event types. Now, all of this is laid out on the website, but I'll briefly share this vision a little bit so you get a sense of it. There's 2 paid events which simultaneously help support the free events. So the first event type is called Freedom Talks. And these are one-day events that we will give in certain major cities around Europe. And those are free of charge one-day events. So I'll be giving a lecture, a discourse, a transmission for about 2 hours. And there will be a short break. And then there's a 2-hour Q&A segment. So far we have secured 3 cities, Amsterdam, London, and Berlin. If more people around Europe want me to visit more locations, then that would be delightful. And there's a crowdfunding aspect to this. There's a strong by the people for the people component to this tour to make possible these free teachings and these free events where literally everyone and their mom and their uncle can come if they have some level of interest, at least, some curiosity, some sincerity. So the idea is to offer free teachings around the world, to begin a new way, to kind of break the mold on this paradigm. The last thing I want is to be another spiritual teacher in the spiritual circuit that gives a workshop here and a workshop there and makes their money this way. And that does not appeal. That's not why I'm returning to public availability teaching. I hear the calling. It appears people are more ready. Their seeking has been aroused by the chaos and the confusion in the world, and all the exposure that is happening in the past 10 or so years, especially. And the seeking for something truer is high. People are disillusioned with religion, with online teachings and teachers, myself included, at least in their minds. And the world is hungry for direct contact with God, for direct access to God. And everyone deserves to know how this is done. So that is the primary intention behind the God Tour. Then we have a residential retreat and a weekend event, which are both paid. They're more exclusive. They're tailored to the somewhat more experienced seeker, or at least a more serious seeker. They're not as introductory as the Freedom Talks are. And they also help kickstart the tour before we get crowdfunding and partnerships in. So the team, specifically Corey, made a beautiful website that is host to this intention in form. So you can check it out. So you can find all the information there. Please scroll through it, enjoy. It's best viewed on a laptop, in my opinion, but it also works fine on the phone. It is godtour2025.com. And there's a potential this will extrapolate to other areas of the world and into next year and so on and so forth. So this is the start of a bit of a revolution by the people for the people, bringing God back to the people as its intention, helping people know God directly, unconfuse the collective, clarify, education. Make freedom inherent once again. So scroll through the site, the different pages, take your time to read it, see if this intention lands for you, see if this resonates for you, and see how you wish to participate. Maybe you want to fund some of it. Maybe you want to become a partner if you have more means. Maybe you just want to spread the word and bring your uncle and bring your mother and bring your neighbor. Obviously, if they're interested. If not, then don't push it. But if this is something they're interested in, and it will be an easy sell for them to attend a free event and you feel they are sincere, then spread the news far and wide to your friends and family on your social media if this aligns for you. Go through the different events and see what you might be interested in attending. And let us know. And if you notice any mistakes, feel free to let us know as well. Any glitches, let us know. But it will also go out to the public today. So this is an exciting day, potentially, as seen from the future. At least we are doing what we feel called to do in as pure, powerful, and humble, same thing, ultimately, a way as we can conceive of, as we are inspired to. And we invite you, I invite you to join in this intention and to change this fucking insane planet for once and for all. Do the right thing for once and for all. Wake the fuck up for once and for all. Restore balance to the species. It's why I am here. It's why a lot of you are here. So now's the time. No more whining. No more complaining. Be the change you wish to see in the world, if it resonates. We're simply offering a vehicle, a platform, an initial spark to help you ignite your own planet with hopefully the clearest distillations, translations that are most accessible and most effective that this world has ever seen. That is the intention. That is the goal. Bring it back to the people. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you in person very soon. Let me just briefly check if I forgot anything in my stream of consciousness. God Tour is now live. Go to godtour2025.com. You can now buy tickets to our week-long retreat in Croatia and Amsterdam weekend event. Then there's the Freedom Talks. You can register for the Freedom Talks. They are free, but seats are limited. We did go for the larger venues, relatively large venues, but we do need people to register so that we know how many are coming and when we are full. Oh yeah, there's one more event, potential event. It is for now titled Mystery Immersion. Now this is a free event in the sense, at least that's our intention at this point, a free event in terms of there's no tuition being charged. There will be some organizational expenses involved and accommodation and food and so on, so people will have to pay something, but it will be relatively, I'd say, very affordable for what it is. So it's part of the accessibility vision, part of the free sessions, part of the free instruction, teaching, and opportunity endeavor. We're still evolving, we're still working on this project, but it will be exciting to some of you, especially those who are already more familiar with my work, and anyone listening to this, I suppose, is, unless you're just tuning in for the first time, in which case, welcome. But for those of you who are familiar with my sessions, my work, and or who have come to events before, maybe like many years ago, and or those who are already quite adept at meditation and want to be immersed in greater silence and greater focus, this particular event will be of interest to you. So we will reveal more as the details crystallize and as the crowdfunding for this makes it possible. Okay, I think that is all that I was supposed to announce this session and wanted to announce. I pray for your ego death. I pray for your willingness and your trust in God to take you beyond your insecurities and your fears, and your mistrust in life, and your inherited conditioning. I pray that you shall trust in God and see Him as He is. See the reality of yourself as that is. And I pray for your resurrection. And I would like to meet you face to face during this tour. And I would like to feel those of you who resonate with this, to feel the spark to be mobilized, to mobilize this vision and to change, transmute, transform, offer, liberate, illuminate this planet at an accelerated pace. For by God, now is the time.
Thank you for watching this Bentinho live session. Bentinho now hosts these transformative live sessions completely free, offering profound insights and guidance to support your journey. To attend the next live session with Bentinho, simply visit massaro.university and follow the instructions to create your free account.